Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast for season 5.
Welcome back, everyone. We're so happy to be back, even though it's under this Capricorn full moon, 29-degree energy that's like slapping the world across the head.
It's a tough one. It's a big one. And wasn't Cancer also at 29 degrees?
The last one?
Day of Cancer. Yes, the last day of the season.
Yeah, there's a lot of endings happening right now.
So many.
Yeah. If you haven't been alarmed by the number of celebrities that are crossing over, that in itself.
I know. And nobody even got any recognition because of stupid ass Trump getting shot with some shrapnel glass. But there was nothing, hardly anything about poor Richard Simmons or Dr. Ruth, Shannon Doherty.
I know, Shannon Doherty, poor thing. And then did you hear like essentially she's a victim of the American healthcare system? Did you hear about that?
What? How?
Yeah. So it was essentially like whoever her management group was, they dropped the ball and they left her uninsured. And so she didn't have health insurance for like, I think at least a year. And so she wasn't seen by a doctor. And by the time she did get her health insurance back, and she went to the doctor was when they had found the cancer and it had spread so much. Like had she gone earlier, like she might have been able to have treatment and survive.
Yeah, that's it. My first question is, well, doesn't Shannon Doherty have enough to buy private insurance? I mean, why couldn't she just go through the ACA? I mean, it's $300 a month for the basics, right?
Right.
For you and I, but that's just a question that I would have. That's a bummer, but I was bummed. But then I'm like, all right, well, Luke and Brenda are back together again. So,
are they?
Or Dylan and Brenda are back together.
Okay, I have a confession to make because I am not of the generation that watched that. I've never watched that show.
What?
I've never.
Oh my God.
And Mike has told me, he's like, you would probably like it.
Like, yeah, I think you would like it. I mean, I know you didn't like The Hills or any of those, but
that's different.
That was different. You know what, though? I will tell you, though, and I don't know about 90210 because I don't remember, but I was watching 16 Candles a couple days ago. I was like, that show is offensive as fuck by today's standards.
Yeah.
So offensive.
There's a lot, and it went on for a while. Actually, now that you mentioned that, we were watching because I don't know if you've noticed they came out with a movie, He's All That. It's like the flipped gender response to She's All That.
Dude, no, but that's one of my favorite movies. I'm gonna watch it. He's All That.
Yes, it's actually, I would recommend it. Like it's cute and it's modern, so they're not problematic today. But we were watching She's All That, and oh my God. That movie does not stand the test of time. Like when he talks about her, Freddie Prinze's character, and he says like her and the weird boobs, I was like, oh, absolutely not. And then I told Mike, I was like, can you turn this off and put on Not Another Teen Movie on? Because I love Not Another Teen Movie.
The 80s movies are iconic and amazing, and like I only have wonderful things to say about them, but when you look at them now, it really is like in 16 Candles, the grandpa asked, or somebody asked somebody, it was an old man, I think, asked somebody, are you retarded? And
oh my God,
freaking died laughing because, I grew up using that term as a slam. It wasn't until I, got into my, I don't know, like my 40s, literally, where people were like, you can't say that. And I'm like, but it's appropriate. No, it's not.
No,
all right, fine.
It's not. We can find more words, right? We can learn better and do better, and we'll just find different words. I'll just call you a fucking moron, like.
Yes,
and not offend people with special needs.
I get it. Listen, I do get it. I do, but I mean, yeah, that was way funnier to me.
There is a lot there's a lot though. I mean, we will occasionally watch certain movies and then we'll just be like, wow, just kind of what's the one it's like one of those compilation, Love Actually, I think.
Yes,
it's Love Actually.
That movie.
It's a cute movie, but there's a couple things that are just kind of like, bro,
problematic.
the friend that's like secretly in love with his best friend's wife.
Yes, Rick Grimes. That's Rick Grimes of The Walking Dead.
I always say, okay, so just like he's secretly recording her, and just kind of that whole thing is just kind of like, bro,
Stalker.
you're kind of stalkery. And then the Hugh Grant's assistant, and how like how the body shaming that entire movie, and that woman is just like an average looking, like she is not overweight.
No.
She is like, she's just like a normal, and I'm like, and they're just talking about her thighs and all these comments about her body are just terrible.
Yes. The standards by which I was judged against as a teen in high school were completely destroyed any sense of self or self-confidence. Actually, it's one of the things that I'm actually struggling with right now in like therapy and stuff. I'm starting somatic therapy because I'm just like, dude, there's some trauma that I gotta freaking get rid of. It's like stuck in my body. And one of the things, you know, that I've had to do in order to get to that point was go, well, what is this trauma and stuff?
Right.
And one of them was really just the 80s. It was all about being thin and, you know, the whole Kelly LeBrock, you know, weird science type of body image, and anything other than that was just completely unacceptable. And that was tough. That was tough. So it's tough now, but now I'm just like, whatever, man.
And it, you know, and thankfully it has only more recently changed, because even for me, like in high school, and what was in fashion at the time were low-rise jeans, low-rise pants, and look at like who was popular at that time, like Nicole Richie and what's her name? Paris Hilton, thank you. And just kind of that aesthetic. Like we were still recovering from the early 90s heroin chic thing. And so women were still like expected to be this super skinny. And so tell us, like, we had no business trying to cram ourselves into these stupid low-rise pants. And so it makes me so mad that Gen Z's like over here trying to bring them back. It's like, no, don't take away my high-waisted or even just regular mid-rise pants. Just leave my clothes alone.
Leave my clothes alone. Gen Z, you know what? They're problematic. They are problematic because they're trying to cancel Eminem, and that is where I draw the line. Listen, he is foul-mouthed, misogynistic, a jackass, and those are his lyrics, and that is what we love about him. You don't like him, you turn the channel, you shut up. Don't you come at Eminem. Don't you do it. No.
Okay, I will say, I'll say that about artists, right? Is like, I think you're expected to evolve. But
not Eminem.
That's a really interesting point though that you're making, because it's rap music, right? And it's so, even just look at like Drake and Kendrick Lamar, right? Just like talking shit on each other,
right?
And just Eminem's just basically just talking shit on whoever he wants, including
Machine Gun Kelly, I believe.
Right? Okay, yeah.
Or anybody.
Just anybody,
shit on
right?
His own mom. He doesn't care.
Right. Yeah. And he's not going to do it in like a non-problematic way. Like it's sweet. But at the same time, it's like, you don't like it, then you don't listen to it.
Just don't listen to it.
Yeah.
The whole point is that, you know, you can be mad, you can not like him, you can blah blah blah, but you can't. You're not going to be able to cancel Eminem. I mean, he's a freaking icon. And any time, you know, like Without Me or any of my other favorite Eminem songs come on the radio, I go back to my roots in the streets, which I never had. I don't have any street roots.
I would say that, and this might be a hot take, I would say that Eminem and Kid Rock are two sides of the same coin.
How dare you?
But think of how they trigger, like, you know, people. And they were both popular at the same time, and they're both terrible in their own way.
Oh.
No, I did like 2000s Eminem. I'm not gonna bullshit you.
Mostly it's just what cracks me up is that the youngins are like, we're gonna go after Eminem, and The Gen Xers are like,
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't.
It's not gonna work.
Leave them alone. Yeah, just leave them. There's bigger fish to fry, people.
I bet you our listeners have really missed these random topics that we go off on.
Okay. Speaking of, well, this isn't random, but can we get back to talking about like what's currently going in our 3D matrix world and politics?
Yes, please. Oh yeah, let's talk about the politics. Let's do it.
Okay, so I have some stuff that kind of gave me hope, and it's a little morbid, but did you know that we've lost 20.2 million boomers since the last election?
Isn't that Kathy told me?
Insane.
Kathy told me that. She's told me that. A friend of the pod, Kathy Hargrove, loveliest human, said that the boomers were going to start dying off. She told me that like 3 years ago. And you hear that and you're like, oh, that's awful, right?
But it's true.
But it's absolutely necessary because it's their mentality, their ideology is dying off. They're no longer needed because the consciousness is raising. Right? Mm-hmm. Because all of the Ys are coming up trying to cancel all the boomers. And so the boomers are like, yeah, my time is done. I'm out.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Yeah. And then there's 8 million Gen Zs that are aging into being able to vote this election cycle. And I think it's like 45% are people of color within that 8 million. So,
yeah.
I have hope for the future. However, there are plenty of astrologers that I've seen that they're not predicting. Like they don't see like an energy of like who's gonna win. So it's kind of an up in the air thing.
It is because there are some astrologers. There was one that I just unsubscribed to because it was complete bias, and I was like, I want to hear your knowledge. I want to hear your genius. I want to hear your analytical. I want to see your analytics at work. I don't want to hear, your bias when it comes to astrology. So she was like pointing out why the quote unquote craziness of Kamala's chart. And, basically she was saying, I don't know, it doesn't look good for her. She's predicting that once we get closer, there's going to be some scandal that's going to befall her, and then it's going to take her out. Right. So, and then other people were coming on just as qualified or knowledgeable, and that were like, that's not what I see in her chart. This is what I see. And then they were arguing, and I'm like, all right, enough. Yeah. Right. So, I like to hear those. I like to hear, well, what is it? But like, I don't listen to the Astrology King for that reason, because he's a Trump supporter. And it's like, so he's going to look at the chart and go, Biden's going to die.
Some psychics, not astrologers, psychics have predicted that Trump will pass in September.
That's so sad.
Yeah. So there's that. Imagine like what a wrench that would throw in this whole thing. Like, what would they do? I don't know.
Because it's my understanding that his vice presidential candidate, it's not my understanding, but he's got very little political experience, background. I think it was easy for the MAGA to point the fingers at Biden, because look at that debate. I was like, look, I love Joe Biden, but that dude, it was time. It was like, get your it's time for pudding, Grandpa. Go sit down.
And he had said the first election that he was only going to be a president for one cycle, one term. And then here he is, like, still trying to go for it. And we're like, bro, dude, like you said, you were not going to do this. And I don't know. But like I was telling you offline, like, I think that this is probably for the best, because I'm kind of thoroughly enjoying the shit show that it's becoming for the Republicans and how they're freaking out because they don't like they put together this compilation video of Kamala laughing. Like, that's like the worst they can find on her. It's just like her laughing at like different events or whatever she's talking. And it's like, okay, so she has joy. Like, don't vote for her. Like, I don't. And then the FJB merchandise is out. Like, no one needs to buy that anymore. Like,
millions of dollars down the drain. Well, that's so sad.
So yeah, I mean, and yeah, I guess like there's obviously going to be bias with us and what we're talking about, but like ultimately, I just think, I don't know, it feels so clear cut to me to just be like, well, how about like you affiliate yourself with the people that aren't trying to, turn us into Handmaid's Tale, and are
a
trying to
Christian
push
nation, a Christian nationalist nation.
Yeah.
That's my big thing. It's the, I mean, Trump gained power when the evangelicals and the conservatives, like the super like conservative evangelicals, really started.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what's happened in the Supreme Court, and the thing is that even from a Democratic side, like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer were kind of the architects of getting Biden out, and the thing is that they need to go behind him too and allow AOC to step into leadership, allow those youngers. It's just time for this younger generation to step up, and these old people are just holding on with their hands all arthritic, and it's like, get out. They're out of touch. And as democratic as they can be, I feel like they're still they're giving foundation to expand on this Christian national bullshit. So and that's the problem for me. It's not politics. I could care less about politics as far as it is what it is. It's conservative or liberal, it doesn't matter. It's the rise of the Christian nationalism and the racism and all of that stuff that's alarming.
I miss the days that I could just be very uninvolved in politics,
dude,
where I didn't know, like, and like even like during the Trump administration, for me to know like the press secretaries' names and all that, like I didn't care about that before. Like,
nope.
It was only until we had this, this parade of clowns on TV every day. And like, who wants to go back to that? Really?
No.
God, you want to go back to watching people who hate their job because they hate working for him? Like, oh my God, that was just terrible. Like, anyway.
It was a bad time. Even when Obama was president, I didn't pay attention to politics.
Right.
I literally didn't. I was like,
I do remember right before Obama got elected, there was this little old lady that came I was working at Home Depot, and she came in and just, out of the blue, nobody asked her, whatever. It's like, and she's talking about how if Obama gets elected, we're all going to live in FEMA camps. I was like, what? Lady, get off of Fox News. Like, holy Jesus.
Way back then.
Yeah.
Old people, they'll say what they want. They don't give a fuck.
No. Yeah. Well, speaking of not giving a fuck or saying what you want, so for anybody that doesn't know, so there have been changes with my job recently. Earlier this year, my husband started working with me, and so it now means that we occasionally work together in Las Vegas, and it's been great because we can obviously spend the time together, but the politics of the people in Las Vegas is something that's like, no, thank you. I don't want it.
Is it conservative?
It's a mix. They're a purple state. So yeah, so you'll encounter some people, who are cool, and then you'll encounter some people who are trying to like jam their beliefs down your throat. Like the other day we went to go see a client, and this is actually the second time this has happened. This was worse though than the first time. So this time this guy starts talking about us. So he's like, oh yeah, I'm writing a book. And in my head, I'm like, don't ask what the book is about. Don't ask what the book is about.
Don't do it.
And I didn't. And then, but it didn't matter because he proceeded to tell us. And so he was just talking about how, I don't even know what the point was. It's like, I don't know if he's just trying to get people to be Christian is essentially what I got from it or whatever. And he talked about how people say that like the Bible is corrupted because it's been mistranslated and people have rewritten it and all that, which I think is very valid. And he's like, well, but if you have to think about it, at the same time, God's had his hand in all of that. So he would have still made his word be true, or made sure that his message still got across. I'm like, but what about free will? Because if you're using that logic, now what about when a child dies? So you're saying that like he has a hand in everything, including allowing children to die? Like, then that's where you lose me, and that's where you lose a lot of us.
Right.
And yeah, stuff like that's just like irritating.
And God didn't write the Bible, dude. Whoever this dude is, God didn't write the Bible. And it's that separation of church and state. God did not write the Bible. The Bible is a sacred text that has nothing to do with religion. these people, they don't know.
Yeah. So, and that was actually the second time. The first time it happened was another client. But this one was different. This one, like, I wasn't like annoyed or anything. He's a really nice man, but it turns out he's a pastor, and he starts asking me. He's like, "So, do you practice Wicca?" And I was like,
Yes.
No, I'm not a witch. And also, I don't like organized religion. I don't like people telling me what to do. And Wicca is just a bunch of rules, and I don't like it.
What did he say?
So he's like, "Oh, okay," and just kind of like, and I was like, "Well, I believe in God, and I believe in Jesus as an ascended master, and that's about it. But I do think that the Bible is been used as a tool to oppress people and to affect and ruin cultures and remove people from from their land, and just there's a lot of problems for it with it for me." And we went on to probably have like an hour-long conversation in which I don't know if he was like trying to convince me, but then I just had like, well, I have my questions, and I have my rebuttals, and I have my, like, it's just, I'm so rooted in like what I believe and what I know. And especially because if your belief system doesn't involve reincarnation, and I wholeheartedly believe in reincarnation, I'm sorry, but we're gonna just have to agree to disagree. There's just no way. Like,
it's a hard conversation to have with somebody when you fundamentally believe the same thing. However, their interpretation of it is so different from yours, and it's like, look, we believe the same thing. We just, our interpretation of it is different, and so it's a difficult conversation. I don't really like talking religion with people that I don't know or anything like that. Like with you, we can talk about this all day or, whatever. But same thing with politics. It's like, if I don't know you, I don't want to talk about it unless it's on my Facebook page, which, I'm on a Facebook break right now through the end of the election. Well,
good. That's a good time to take a break.
Yeah, I'm just not interested in it. Plus we archived the Facebook group. Yeah. Wah, wah, wah. It's weird because I just dropped my most recent newsletter yesterday, and in my intro, my opening, I said how weird it's been not to check it daily, because I was in there, several times a day checking for posts and comments and new members and all that stuff. Yeah. And it was just done. After 8 years, 2017 is when I started that group. I'm just done with it. And literally other than the people, the daily interaction, hearing from like Audrey and Ash and, all of the other people, daily. What I don't miss about it is just the time suck that it is. Right. Getting sucked into other things on there, that have nothing to do with the group. But I do miss it as a place to post memes and links and woo-woo stuff. Like, I really miss that, but I don't miss it enough to open it back up. So,
well, you can just send it to me and I'll post it on Instagram. if you really want to share it. Like I did, I shared some Capricorn full moon stuff, some things like that. But I'm with you. It's like one less thing, just one less thing to have to go and check in on. But yeah, how has this summer been for you?
This summer has been crazy. So I'm in a personal 7-year in numerology, and a 7-year is a year of spirituality, going deeper, consciousness, expansion, all that stuff. And it's typically a very, I won't say lonely year, but it's not a social year. It's a very introverted year, we'll say. Yeah. And I'm an extrovert and I love a social life. So that's been the toughest thing, is not having an active social life. And it's not because people aren't willing, but it's the energy of the year. There's nothing I can do about it. Even if I'm like calling people and saying, let's go do something. Ultimately, that will not, it's not something that I will be able to do all the time. Right? No, because the energies don't support that. Yeah. Yeah. So, it's been crazy, but I had to decide, what do I want to do in this year? Do I want to, do I want to make jewelry, or do I want to sort of share my knowledge? And I just decided that right now, at this point, with everything that's going on evolutionarily and spiritually, it's time just put the jewelry aside. Because after I launched that spring line and it did not sell well, and those pieces are exquisite.
Those pieces are beautiful.
Yes. So that's my first clue. They're still in my shop. Some pieces sell slowly, but at some point they're just going to fly off the shelf, probably in my 8 year, because that's when everything ramps back up. But it was also a little bit of, it was sad because those pieces, right? Like they were my soul. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to spend, because silver is super, super expensive right now. I'm not going to spend time and energy into something that's not going to produce. It's not going to help support me.
Yeah. And I think that's such an important lesson to learn, even though it's hard and it sucks, is just to kind of know when to put something aside, even if you love it. But you have to kind of take that analysis of it and say, like, how do I feel about this? Is this serving me? Do I feel satisfied with this? Am I frustrated with the situation? Is this making me, question my self-worth because, things aren't going the way that I expected them to be? And allowing yourself to take a step back and just decide, like, what do I want in this moment? What would be most beneficial for me in this moment? And even though that's your baby in a way, like, that's your creative outlet.
Yep. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
It's where do I put my energy? But it's not because of the jewelry not selling. It's because there's a greater thing at play. There's my 7 year at play. Spirit says, we need you to focus on your purpose, your path, refining, expanding your consciousness. And so as a result, even my readings at Psychic Sister, I was booking out booking out every single time, 6, 7, 8 readings per session. And now I only get a couple. And so when that started happening, I realized, I'm being redirected because the other readers aren't experiencing the same, sort of bottleneck. And I'm like, I'm being redirected. So I had to go inward, really have a ritual with myself. And that's exactly what it was. You're being directed in other areas. So what I've done is first off, I've worked with some really amazing healers this year, and I will include some of their names and contact information in the show notes in this episode. But energy workers, nutritionists, I mean, just really, how do I be the best version of myself, physically, mentally, and emotionally? But I also I changed up my offerings. I'm now offering intuitive development, spiritual awakening, coaching, and mentoring, where I teach you people how to work in the energy of your own Akashic record, along with that spiritual awakening coaching, and then some live workshops and stuff. This is what I've sort of come up with, is that the Akashic records, there's tons of accounts out there on the socials and practitioners, and typically a mentorship or to learn how to use them or open them, it's several $100s. One person had it was $1,000.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the Akashic records are not some sacred, untouchable, thing that we all have access to these things. Our record is simply, it's our soul's cloud storage. That's all it is.
Yeah. And it's so funny though, because that's also like who you are. Like that's what you do. And that's why, I mean, I've had readings from other people, and I watched a lot of like instructional material and stuff before I met you. But just working with you really resonated with me because of like that you have that philosophy of like, there's no reason to gatekeep this information, and like anything that I can do, you can do as well, kind of personality. And so that's what I love and appreciate about you. And that's why working with you is so cool.
Thank you. That's what I had to realize. Do I want to make jewelry, or do I want to, do that? My mission, my passion is to help others develop, awaken, their intuitive and spiritual practices. And so that's what we've been working on. And it's funny because I started out with this workshop and, mentoring, and then the two things sort of came together because I'm like, if you work with me, I'm going to guide you through your spiritual awakening and give you the tools and resources that you need. But I'm also going to teach you how to work in your own Akashic energy, because when you do that and you identify your spiritual relationship, you're then going to need the intuitive abilities to be able to communicate with that spirituality.
Mhm.
That's what your intuitive abilities are. And then once you know once you've defined your spirituality, what do you believe in? What higher power? Universe, source, God, goddess, Buddha? It doesn't matter. But that's who you're communicating with. How do you communicate with them? Through your intuitive abilities. All right, well then what? Well, then the world opens up to you, because now you have the tools and the knowledge and the resources and the methodologies to be able to co-create. And that means, universe, I'm working through you. I'm your employee. If you want me to do this thing, because everybody has their own purpose, everybody has their own path. If you want me to do this thing, that's great. I'm here. I'm going to do this, because that's what being in service is. It's sharing the things that light you up with the world. People think it's being in servitude, but it's not. It's sharing your gifts with the world. If you want me to do this, that's great, but I'm going to need a benefit package and I'm going to need an income, and you're going to have to provide for me. And that's what people, what I guess people mean when they say everything is provided. But for you to consciously have that relationship with the universe, girl, it's changed everything for me. And that's how, when I see my income from readings drying up, I'm not freaking out. I'm going, okay, I'm being redirected. Well, if you're going to redirect me, then you're going to need to make sure that all my bills are being paid while I'm pursuing this new direction. And it has been craziest, coolest thing. This 7 year but like I said, it's been nuts. The summer has been crazy nuts.
Well, my summer has not been as eventful as yours, I feel.
But you're in a 4 year, you're in a different year. You're in the 4 year. Yours is probably a lot of creating structures and stability in your life. That's what the 4 year is.
Yeah, ours has. I've just been really hyper focused on work and income and things at home. We did get another dog reluctantly.
Lillian.
Yeah, Lily. My mom brought her over, and so then we kind of made friends with her, and now we can't live without her. So
So tell everybody about your mom's new dog.
Oh, my mom's dog. So I don't know how much longer she's going to be my mom's dog, because
why?
Because my mom. So okay. So I'll tell you guys the story. The problem is she goes after the bird. I can't hold her. I know. No. So what happened was somebody posted this dog on, I think it was the Ring app, that they had found a dog, and nobody had claimed her. This lady had already held her for like a week, and this dog just has the same eyes that Ruby had.
Freaking spitting image of Ruby.
So I saw this dog, and I just like, oh my God, I can't just, poor thing. She was going to take her to the shelter. So I pick her up, and this dog is overweight. And
she's chubby. How dare you?
She's chubby. She's a chubby girl. And I thought, I was like, what if she's pregnant? Oh my God, what did we just do?
Puppies.
So we took her to the vet. She was not pregnant. She was just chubby. And so we gave her, we cleaned her up and everything. I had her at home for a day, but as soon as she saw Charlie, like, she went after him immediately.
She's a terrier,
and she doesn't like other dogs, really. She kind of generally doesn't really like other dogs. She doesn't really play with them. She kind of wants to just be left alone. She loves humans. And so it hasn't really been it wasn't a fit for us. It hasn't really been a fit with my mom either, because her dog is such high energy, and she gets mad at her name. They called her Gordis. I had named her Penny, but they renamed her Gordis, and she'll go after my mom's dog. She'll just kind of snap at her and just kind of be mad. She doesn't really like her either. Not that anyone really likes my mom's dog, because she's pretty annoying. But
well, to be fair,
she's annoying. So I don't know. We're gonna see. They have my mom's boyfriend has a cousin that it might take her. So we'll see. But either way, she's not going to end up at a shelter or anything.
No.
She'll still be at a home.
Yeah.
That was the whole point.
Such a sweet baby too.
She was a sweet dog.
Just chill and yeah. So that's probably, she's like, who are these people coming in my world? Well, if she, you know, because she was significantly, you know, chubby, she was fed very well. So who knows, like how she, you know, like what home was somebody's feeding her well.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, somebody's missing her.
Yeah. My theory is that she was probably an elderly person's dog.
Yeah.
And, you know, they didn't give a crap. They just gave her everything. They just gave her house food, and cared for her. And then probably something happened to that person. Yeah. And then like the family or whoever like decided to like, that's kind of what my gut tells me. But we won't know for sure. And no one's ever claimed her. So it's pretty sad, actually.
It is sad, but I mean, she hit the mother load when she landed with you. It's just too bad. You know, I mean, to be fair, I don't know that I could live with you because of Charlie. I mean, I was just recently there, you guys. What was it? When was I there? Well, it was like
May. Was that May?
Yeah. I was there just for a visit, just for fun, and you know, I just stay away from Charlie because he can sense that I don't really like him, and sometimes he thinks it's funny, you know. and the bird does laugh. He does laugh. But he was on the couch, I was on the couch, but Fee was right there, so I wasn't worried about it. But you know, always in the back of your mind, I know he's there.
Yep.
And he doesn't fly, but he wanted to glide. And all I know is I heard the flutter of those wings, and I saw that fucking bird going down, and I was just like, I screamed a bloody murderous scream.
Honestly, he's gone to, like, right now because it's hotter, he gets into his hormonal periods, and he does attack me. Like, and he only does it. Yeah, he only does it when there's somebody else in the kitchen with us. Like, and he does it to me in the kitchen when like my back is turned. And it's almost like he does it like, hey guys, watch this. And then he goes and he tries to bite me. He's honestly just skating on thin ice. Like, so some weeks are just like, I hate you. Like, I don't know why I brought you into this house. And other days I'm just like, oh, you're pretty cute. And he's
a beautiful bird.
He's a beautiful bird. I just wish he was as sweet as he is beautiful.
He's not.
But he's not. He's as evil as he is cute.
Yeah, he's a dick. He literally is. And you know, we can make fun of him all you want and everything, but he's a dick. I'm not a fan at all. And it's more that I'm just afraid of him. So I
get like PTSD. I have like PTSD whenever like I hear him flutter, and I kind of like you know,
you're his mom. I like, cringe. You shouldn't feel like that. So my point is that you gotta, you know, if I were to make a choice between Penny and, you know, little Satan with wings.
Satan with wings.
So I really wanted to quickly, because really this episode isn't about anything other than, hi guys, we're back. We just want to talk about all the things we've been up to. And of course we had to talk about the politics because that's like the biggest thing. Yeah. But I also want to mention too that I just dropped a new guided meditation and workbook for releasing those old stories. It was sort of what led me, you know, down the road of like, I think I need to, you know, see a somatic therapist. I'm going to start working with a somatic therapist to get some of that energy out. I think we talked about that, but I was like, there's old stories that I have to let go of. And then all of a sudden I was like, all of a sudden I started channeling like a meditation. I'm like, oh, here we go. So I wrote a workbook and recorded a 36-minute guided meditation for full moon, for release, surrender, letting go of your old stories, lots of good stuff. So you can either get just the workbook, you can get just the meditation, or you can get the package of both. You can get that from my website. And then I wanted to let everybody know that I was recently a guest on 2 separate podcasts. So the first one is called Raising Happy Teens with Jennifer Della Quadri. And when that comes out, I'll talk more about it and stuff. But that's a cool one that hasn't come out yet. And we're working on a collaboration, but that was really fun. I don't have a teens, obviously, but she wanted to talk about the woo-woo. And so, of course, I was more than happy to. But then we started talking about raising empathic teens or sensitive teens. And that's what the collaboration is going to be, a workshop here in person in the Portland or the PDX area.
I want to go.
So I'll keep everybody posted about that. But then I was also a guest on the Halfway to Dead podcast with Jen Lovell, which is that's like the best name, Halfway to Dead. And we talked about awakenings and stuff. And I'll include all the links in the show notes to that. That's I believe that I already dropped that info on one of my pages. Maybe it was Mystic Metal and Stone, I think. I'm not sure. But the name is one of my favorites. It's sort of a play on midlife. And for me, I was like, that's really funny. And, I'm fine with my age. I'm good. I'm not like all hung up on it, but there is a different fucking feel to the word midlife. When you're
to mid-death, halfway to death.
Right. I'm like, I need a minute to be able to accept that I'm in midlife, or would be considered midlife. It's like, I think I love that.
Well, that's awesome. I can't wait to listen to those. I should probably just listen to the Raising Happy Teens podcast in general, just because, we've talked about the raising a boy is different.
Yes.
Yes. He's officially taller than me now.
He's lost all his cute little chubbiness now, and he's like a handsome young little man now. So
and just a little lazy man right now. So
he's a gamer. I did tell her about you. I told her because she listens to our podcast. That's how she found, I believe, how she found me and found us. And I told her, I said that you have teens. You have like the epitome of teens, and they're like really cool little humans too. Your teens, I mean, I like kids. I like kids and teens and stuff, but it is what it is, right? I don't want any, but yours, I really like your kids.
They're old souls. Cool. That's why I think that's why they, you like them, because you appreciate their inner old selves, their old souls,
and they're funny.
Well, they're just little, sarcastic little me's.
Yes.
I don't have too much of announcements other than like we have some topics and stuff prepared, but just what you can expect going forward with this season is we really want to pack this one up with guests.
Yes, for sure.
And so actually we just want to put the call out there that if you're listening to this and you feel compelled to maybe share something with us, you have an interesting modality you do or interesting story, shoot us an email, esoterixpodcast@gmail.com. Maybe we can have a little chat and see if it makes sense, because we want to talk to people this season.
Yes, and we want you to hear the people that we're talking to. And so this is everything. Numerology, astrology, human design, witchcraft, medical intuitive, mediumship, that's just the woo aspect of it. But energy workers or authors or musicians. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but people that struggled to find their purpose or their path, and then they fell into it through synchronicities. There's no way I can sit here and go, these are all the people we want to hear from. But if you feel compelled to share your story and it's got some magic behind it, reach out to us. Send us an email, because that's that. I want to hear from people.
And I do have one event planned. I did have taken a break for the majority of this year, actually, from doing events. The last event I did was Artistic Highs earlier this year, and that was really cool. But I am doing an event on 8/8 for the Lionsgate portal. Nice. And for anyone unfamiliar with that, the Lionsgate portal is usually between July 28th and August 12th, but this year it peaks on August 8th. And this is when the sun that will be in Leo and the Earth and Orion's belt and the star named Sirius are all aligned. So it's this very activated energy. And so the idea is that it's a ideal time for transformation, for spiritual healing, for manifesting. And so I just want to put an event together for that time. And so that'll likely take place at Raincross District in downtown Riverside. And then I hope that in the future we can either do something where we can do it online or have it like an online option available, or travel to you.
Dun dun dun. Yeah, let's stay. Well, I want at least to mention a few things about that traveling to you. But I also want to mention that if you're in the Riverside area and you are interested in this event with Fiorelli's, absolutely 100% take this, because not only is there all of the magic that she talked about, but we are in an 8 universal year. So the 8 energy is compounding the 8 energy of August, which is compounding. We're also in a 7 spiritual energy in August. The numerology is the 7, but the energies that are working together, and then you add the astrology to that,
right?
Literally, this whole Capricorn, Pluto transformation, these stories, these cycles are all coming to an end in this phase, and just everything that you do is going to be super powerful. That's going to give you, or that's going to superpower going into next year.
Yeah,
it's powerful stuff.
We're going into good times. Yeah,
very good times. I'm excited. I really am. I just think there's lots of beautiful things ahead for the world. Anyway, that's optimism, right?
The age of Aquarius.
Yes.
We just got to get over this last Pluto and Capricorn bit.
Yep. That's it.
And then we'll never see it again.
And never, because we will be dead. Thank God, right? And I'm not coming back. Well, not during. Well, maybe I will. I don't know. It'd be kind of cool to be able to come back in like 40 years, right? Reincarnate in 40 years and see all of the.
See if you guys still have water left.
Right? And just see, all of the progress that's been made.
Sure. Yeah.
So Fiorelli's alluded to travel. So one of the things that we have in our, that we want to manifest, that we have intentions for doing, is more in-person workshops in various cities around the U.S. I'm not saying we're going to do a ton of them, but I'd like to do at least 3 or 4 throughout the year, and come to various areas. Maybe a Michigan one, California, Seattle-ish area. I don't know. Nice to do like something. I don't know. Some other part of the
New Mexico,
New Mexico, or something along those lines. And it's not a retreat. They're not retreats. They would be like
a day.
Yeah, like day workshops. Maybe with some. We're still working those out. We're working all the details out, but.
Let us know. Leave us a comment. What city do you want us to go to?
Yes. I want to go to New York City. I've never been.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
I don't even know.
I love New York. Any time of year.
Yeah. But definitely, we know we have a lot of listeners in Michigan, and also, I'd love to go home again for a little while.
I love Michigan. Michigan holds a special place in my heart.
Yay! I love that, because had you ever been before?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, Michigan's good. It's
loved it.
It's good. I do love my home state. But
yeah,
I love my
just beautiful. So much to see, and just the outdoors, and it's so green, and the lake, and it's just everything. I loved it. Amazing.
The lake. She's talking about Lake Michigan, but there's 4 others.
Oh, I know. There's like so many lakes. Sorry. I meant Lake Michigan.
You did. It is the Great Lakes state.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, I don't even know, but there's a shit ton of lakes.
Lando Lakes. Right?
Yes. Okay. Well, friends, that means that it is once again time to say goodbye. But if you've enjoyed today's episode, please share on your stories and subscribe and leave us a review. This helps our podcast grow. And this is the 5th year that we're hoping really to make that happen. So if we grow, that means the ability to do this work grows.
So thank you all for hanging out with us today. Stay mystical, magical, and as always, don't let anyone tell you what to do.
Bye.